Hey, what's up everyone, TJ here. In this video, I'm gonna highlight 5 more entry-level snowboards that are gonna be a great choice if you're just getting started out in snowboarding. They're gonna make learning the fundamentals a little bit easier and more enjoyable and help you figure out what type of snowboarding you enjoy the most. Let's get into it. All right, all these snowboards are gonna have a few things in common. First, they're gonna feel comfortable riding in both your normal and your switch stance. They're gonna feel good at riding both directions. They're all gonna have a softer, mellower flex that'll be easy to control, and they're all gonna have camber profiles that are gonna help reduce the chance of you catching your edge out there as you're figuring things out. And the first snowboard I wanna highlight today is the CAPITA Pathfinder Reverse Camber. The Pathfinder is a true twin snowboard on the CAPITA lineup, so it's perfectly symmetrical from nose to tail. It's gonna ride exactly the same in either direction, and it runs a flat to reverse camber profile. So that flat camber under and between your feet is gonna give you a very predictable feel, while that reverse camber in the nose and tail outside your feet is gonna give you some benefits like easier turn initiation. It's gonna make the board a little bit more forgiving and catch free as your flat base. And it's gonna make it easier to get flex out of the snowboard and do presses if you decide to get into that type of riding as well. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a mellower flexing snowboard, but I do want to call out not just the nose to tail flex, but also the torsional flex. So if you try to twist the snowboard with your feet, that's going to have a very manageable, softer flex as well. And I think that's what makes the board much easier to control, especially as you're learning the fundamentals. So as you're trying to learn your first turns, how to initiate turns properly, how to get your first carves going, that mellower torsional flex is going to make all those things a little bit easier and give the board an overall easier to control feel. And one other thing that I think is a big highlight for the Pathfinder is that it has pretty blunted tips, so a short nose and tail outside the contact points. What that's going to do is actually give the board a bit of a longer effective edge compared to other similar boards of the same size. So more of the metal edge is in contact with the snow, giving the board a little bit more control and stability compared to other boards of the same size. So this is going to be a great choice on the CAPITA lineup as an entry-level board to just figure things out and even take to freestyle progression if you decide you want to get in the park. The second board I want to highlight on this list is the ARBOR Formula Rocker. This is going to be an all-mountain freestyle focused board on the ARBOR lineup, and it's going to be a great progression and entry-level choice in my opinion. It is a directional twin, so outside the front contact points, the board has a slightly longer nose than tail. So if you take this board out in soft snow or on a powder day, that longer nose is going to help it stay on top of that snow a little bit better compared to a true twin. And it runs a full reverse camber profile. It runs ARBOR's parabolic rocker, and that's gonna offer quite a few benefits. First, I think the biggest one is that it's gonna make learning how to turn much easier. As soon as you get this board on edge, it just naturally wants to turn since it's already pre-bent into that shape. That softer torsional flex is gonna make figuring that out easier as well. The full reverse camber profile is gonna give you a benefit in powder snow conditions, helping the board float a little bit easier. It's gonna give you a more forgiving, catch-free feel when you're flat base, and also offer a nice platform for pressing and getting flex out of the snowboard if you decide to try some of that out. And I think one of the most unique things about the formula, as with all ARBOR snowboards, is you're gonna get their grip tech in the side cut. So under your feet, you're gonna get a couple of added contact points. So if you're in icy snow conditions, maybe you're an East Coast rider, you're gonna plan on doing some night riding, it's gonna help bite down and give you more control in those icy, firm conditions. The third board on this list is the BURTON RIPCORD. This is going to be the most directional board on the list, but still feels very comfortable riding switch and doing more freestyle focused riding. It does have a directional outline, so similar to the ARBOR, a slightly longer nose than tail outside the contact points, which is going to come into play in softer snow conditions, as well as a bit of a setback and taper. So the reference stance is going to be closer to the tail, naturally keeping your weight further back on the snowboard, and a slight taper, a 5mm taper, so that tail of the snowboard is a little bit narrower than the nose, reducing the surface area in the back. And all of those things are just going to help the board in those softer snow conditions. But if you do want to ride it in the park, or you just want that more symmetrical feel, you can shift your stance forward those 25mm and get it centered in the snowboard between the contact points there. The RIPCORD runs BURTON's flat top camber profile, so similar to the Pathfinder, it's going to be flat camber between the feet going into reverse camber outside your feet out to the tips. My favorite feature in the RIPCORD, and what I think is one of the most unique things about it, is the easy bevel. So it's basically a bit of a 3D shape, like a spooned out shape in the nose and tail. It's gonna make the board extra catch free when you're flat base. Great thing to have when you're just starting out, and also a lot of fun for more flat ground and butter type tricks, making the board extra catch free in the tips around the contact points. It also has Burton's channel system, but that's not something you need to worry about. Pretty much every major binding is going to be compatible with this snowboard. And it's just going to be a great versatile choice that's going to be a board that's pretty much ready for anything during those first couple of seasons as you're out there learning. So if you're looking for something like that, check out the Burton RIPCORD. The fourth snowboard on this list is going to be the BATALEON Blow. This is going to be the entry-level snowboard from BATALEON, but still going to have the staple features from them, which is going to be their full positive camber profile combined with their triple base technology. It is going to be a true twin, so perfectly symmetrical in both directions. And that positive camber profile is going to give you a bit of a more responsive flex. It's a very mellow camber, so it's still going to be very manageable, easy to control feel, but you're going to notice a little bit more tension loaded up in the board right away as you lean into the nose or tail and try to flex the snowboard. They combine that with their triple base technology, which is a 3D base shape that's flat in the center of the snowboard. They call that the center base, and then beveled up on the sides of the snowboard, giving you a very catch-free and forgiving feel. And that's only going to be in the nose and tail of the snowboard outside the bindings. So with that design, you get the more responsive, snappy feel out of positive camber with a little bit more precision, while still being very catch-free and forgiving, even if you're leaned into the nose or tail, while the softer flex makes it easy to control, and the soft torsional flex is still gonna help you learn your first turns and your first carves. And one last thing I want to highlight on the Blow is that you're going to get urethane sidewalls, so that offers a bit of a dampening benefit, helping to mellow out vibrations. It's awesome to see that in an entry-level board. So if you were thinking you might want to start off on positive camber, this could be a good option for you to check out. And real quick before I talk about the last snowboard and some honorable mentions, I want to let you guys know that all of these boards are going to be linked down in the description below this video. So if you do decide to do some shopping online, if you click any of those links before you make a purchase, it'll support the channel at no additional cost to you. It's the best way to support the channel for free. And the final snowboard on this list is the Rome Mechanic. It's going to be a freestyle focused board on the Rome lineup, and it's very forgiving, it's very manageable, it's very buttery. It's a true twin, so it's going to have that perfect symmetry from nose to tail and ride exactly the same in either direction. And it runs a flat to rocker profile. So similar to the Pathfinder, similar to the RIPCORD, it has a very predictable feel while still offering the benefits of reverse camber. This is a really fun snowboard for flat ground tricks. It's very pressable, gonna make that butter progression a lot of fun. Also a really good board for getting into freestyle, but particularly like rail and jib kind of riding. So if that's something you're interested in, this board's gonna make that very easy as well. And of course is gonna be a good choice for just generally learning the fundamentals, like your first turns, your first presses, and just getting control over the edges of your snowboard. The Mechanic's going to come in at the best price point out of all the snowboards on this list, and I think one of the standout features of the snowboard is its bamboo hot rods. So there's bamboo milled into the core of the snowboard on both the nose and the tail. It's going to help get you a little bit more out of those reverse camber tips, a little bit more snap, a little bit more energy, while still keeping the overall feel of the snowboard very friendly and very manageable, and not stiffening the board up torsionally at all. And I want to end the video today with a couple of honorable mentions. First is the LibTech Skate Banana. This one is just a little bit burlier than the other boards on the list, so something that I think you could progress into as you become more of an intermediate rider. Still has an overall rocker shape. It's a hybrid profile, but the big highlight I want to mention is LibTech's Magna Traction. So like a wavy serrated side cut, making the board very all mountain capable, especially in more variable and firm conditions. I also want to mention the Nitro Cheap Thrills. It's the softest snowboard on the Nitro lineup, and is a good similar comparable option for you that's true twin with a flat to rocker profile. And that's going to be my top 5 beginner snowboard picks for the 23-24 season. If you guys want to check out any of these boards in more detail, they're all going to be linked down in the description below this video. If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below. And I hope you guys got some value out of this video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you in a new one next time.